All right, I'm here with I don't mean to make you blush or anything, but one of the best coaches in the country, one of the best coaches of any sport in Florida State history. And Lonnie, I was thinking about it. Your program has gotten to the point that it's so good that losing in the super regionals feels like a supreme disappointment.
For sure.
Um, First off, as we look back on that season, because we're looking ahead to this season,
Yep.
what lessons were learned? And I say understand, you were one of the 9 or 10 best teams in the country. It's not like I'm talking to somebody that just went 10 games below 500.
Yeah.
So, but what lessons are learned from a season that isn't quite what you hoped it would be?
Yeah. I mean, I was very proud of our program last year, and I know from the outside and the expectation of the fan base and the expectation of us and where we want to be every year. It's hard for people when they're not in it to know what's going on, right? When you're in the classroom and you're with the team every day, you know what's going on, and the amount of injuries we sustained, and for a lot of those players to gut it out. I mean, Allison Royalty broke her rib throwing pitches. I mean, she just gutted it out to the very last pitch she could throw, and our offense staying in it mentally. We knew we had to rely on them, and they just from the get go stayed in it mentally and physically. For us to do what we needed to do on the pitching and defensive side to make us one of the 16 teams in the country playing to get to the World Series. And of course we match up with Oklahoma,
Why
who wins
not?
it all.
Why not, Lonnie?
Yeah. And, we had again, that dang center fielder they had robbed us of a couple home runs again. We keep adding to her highlight reel. But boy, did we grow. Our freshman that had an incredible season last year and learned so much got the opportunity to play in a really cool environment, and we were able to travel to Oklahoma. And so I think that there's just a lot of foreshadowing in that experience for us. So I was extremely proud. We had a lot of seniors that graduated last year that have been a part of big, big moments for us. And, the lessons we learned have definitely translated to this season.
What is it like without the two Kayleys and Devin? What has that been like in the preseason? Because they were huge parts of your program, just stalwarts, just mainstays for seemingly half a decade.
Yeah. It's always hard. What are you going to do? It's like Kat was just in here chatting with me, and it's like, when's Kat Sanderclough going to graduate? What is it going to be like?
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that these seniors always do so well is they pour back into the team, knowing that they're leaving the program better than they found it, and they want to make sure that they give the young ones the opportunity to grow. So when they move on, they're ready to take over the leadership that needs to happen and protect the culture that has been established and all the things that are really important for a continued success of a program. So yeah, senior day, I'm always crying like a mom, in the stands, and but crying due to the pride that I have, and the gratitude that I have for the trust that the families and the kids give us as coaches to allow their growth to happen. It just fulfills me and the coaching staff every year. And then you get to September and you got a new squad and they're just ready to roll and do the best they can. So yeah, you miss them. And Harding and Dev are coaching at Mercer now. So it's great that they're giving back to the game. Kaylee got drafted by the AUSL last couple nights ago, and that's incredible. So yeah, you're just ready for them to take on the world, and everything you talk about in their 4 years here, now they can go give to the world.
And you mentioned them. You had a couple of just incredible well, they were freshmen last year on the left side of the infield. I know you thought they were good. I know you probably thought they were good last January. Did you know they were going to be that good?
Yeah.
And I guess without putting too much pressure on them, though I'm sure they already have their own expectations for themselves.
Yeah.
How good can they be?
Yeah. What you have recruiting. You just don't know when the maturity and the light bulb is going to go off for them to keep leveling up. And I think that's the one thing, like Jasony, she's kind of the quiet, I wouldn't say shy, she's very determined, quiet, determined, committed. Her process was very calculated every day. And, you see her down there every day working, you see her doing her ground balls early, you see that. And all of a sudden you see the season start to unravel and you're like, wow, that's a very calculated, driven individual that wants to be great, doing the same thing now, did the same thing in the fall. Whatever the outcome is of it, but you could definitely see that there was a very mature approach to a freshman year with her. Ashton Danley, we tried to to use her the best we could, in wrapping, an injured pitching staff around opportunities. And boy, did she have some big moments of failure
Hmm.
and some big moments of success. But she hung in there. Maturity. Most freshmen can't do that. That emotional, when you get beat, and Ashton's such a family person, I didn't win it for the team. I didn't do it for the team. It could really get to you. It's really tough. And she kept hanging in there. And, there she has some big moments, for us, beating Auburn and getting after, the chance to go to supers. And, I think Issa comes from, her father's a coach. Her sister played at McNeese, and just graduated last year. So she had a little idea what she was getting into. And then, she was a little under the radar, and then all of a sudden just consistency and showed up, and there's no under the radar anymore. And boy, she's taken on a very good lead verbal role for us this year. And yeah, we're very lucky, for their contributions, but their instant growth. So it's been so much fun to see.
With someone like Ashton that comes in with so much fanfare and is one of the best high school players in the country, I can't imagine she had many games in her life, ever maybe, where she would give up 5 or 6 runs or 7 runs and have kind of some ugly innings. It was a welcome to college moment, freshman.
Yeah.
She had a lot of them for a really good team that was trying things.
Yeah.
I wonder in the long term, do you foresee, because some kids can turtle up and go into a shell and be like, I can't handle this. I'm not used to failure. I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
How did she handle it? How do you see her this year in her career moving forward?
Yeah. I think probably one of the tougher things for her is she's a two-way player. So she plays outfield, she hits, and we at some point had to make a decision for the program. And, just for the sheer ability to get through a season, 60-game season, and trying to be the most velocity and movement you can by the end of the season, you got to keep your legs underneath you and get after. So we had to make a decision to take some of the outfield away and take some of the swings away. And wasn't hard for her. If the team needs me, this is what I'm going to do. But previously, if you have some bad outings, you can go out there and hit and get back into it and feel pretty good about it. When you sit there and you can't contribute on the offensive side, now your mind really can start to roll. And I'd say, just a relationship with her family. Again, very family driven. They're very good, loving her on the highs and lows. She's just very mature. She would have lots of conversations in this office. So as a freshman, was completely comfortable shutting the door and breaking down and then getting a game plan and moving forward. And I think any coach can tell you that, when people go through moments of failure and maybe embarrassment, they all want to prove, they all want everyone to know that, they want to do the best for this team, for the fan base, for everything. They get embarrassed, when they don't, produce for their team and for their fans. And so get a little embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, why are you embarrassed? The courage to be out there in those moments. Not many people can do sitting in the stands, so let's really turn around, what you've been going through. And she was able to kind of step past that. And now her speaking to Jazzy Francic is awesome. Freshman coming in. Hey, you don't know what's ahead of you. I do. I'm going to help you through it. It's just been incredible as a sophomore for her to have that leadership right now.
Speaking of this freshman class, as good as last year's was, and we already talked about it, they were two of the at least the infielders in particular were two of the best in the country, really kind of regardless of classification, but certainly as freshmen. This freshman class, I think, is even ranked higher coming into the season, more top 10, top 15, top 20 players. Obviously, they're not all going to be Beechams. They're not, they're not, but what have you seen so far from this freshman class? Are there a couple of players that absolutely 100% will be a big part of this season, this team this year?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously say Jazzy Francic's going to be because, we have a 6-person staff and we're going to use all 6 of them. And she is someone that committed pretty early to the program. So her and I have a pretty good relationship also. And so I foresee a lot of challenges for her head and a lot of success for her ahead too. So I'm really excited about her opportunity to grow this year. And then when you have upperclassmen, sophomore year upperclassmen, but someone like Ashton that's really putting her under her wing. And I'd say Annabelle's come in here as a transfer also and just really shared a lot. So I think Jazzy's going to grow a ton from her relationships and then her ability. I've been thinking with Shelby and Addie and Bella, very talented. Wouldn't be here if they weren't super talented, but we're also very deep. We have 9 seniors. So we've had really good talks about, you don't know when your number is going to be called. I think it's pretty easy on the pitching rotation side that you're going to be in there at some point. But when you got everyone swinging the bat and you got some experience swinging the bat, it's going to take some time maybe to get in there, but you can learn every single day, how to be a very professional type player in the program, and they have just been nothing but sponges to the team. And so we will see them throughout the year, and you never know when the season starts who's going to be in there. But our offense is really senior driven right now. We've got a lot of upperclassmen that are good after some really good swings for us.
Yeah, you do. You got Janai, obviously, and Michaela, and just people, names that we've known for a long time. But I think what's cool about your program, and it's probably every really good program, is that you aren't afraid to play young people if they deserve it. You aren't afraid to play freshmen if they deserve it. So I feel like that would be a nice, not a carrot necessarily, just the truth for these freshmen. Like, look, if you're good enough, I don't care if somebody's been here 3 years. If you're better than them, I promise you.
Yeah.
Ask the third baseman or the shortstop.
Yeah.
If you're good enough, you'll play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, competition, just makes you better, right? And the game doesn't know if you're a senior or a fifth year, you're a freshman. I mean, if you're contributing, it's going to make us better. And again, it's a long season. So, I think we've got to have the thought process of what we need to win 3-game series in the ACC and to win a regional, super regional, and a World Series, right? So, you've got to have pieces in that puzzle to make that happen. And so we've got to gain experience while we do that.
Speaking of that, when you talk about the goals and what, obviously you guys are, you want to have a good regular season, you want to make some noise in the postseason. When you guys did start out, again, so poorly, as I'm using that in quotes,
Gotcha.
but for you guys, and there were games where it was like you were just giving up runs you're not used to giving up. And I know there was a lot of pitching issues.
Mm-hmm.
Do you as a coach change your mindset of what would make a good season? Like, maybe this isn't the year we can really make a run in Oklahoma City. Maybe because of our pitching, it's going to be really hard to get there, or if we do get there, to make a real run. Let me alter my definition of a good season to this. As a competitor, is that something you can do?
Yeah, for sure. I think what's unique about team sports is you just don't know what style team you're going to be. So for us, we talk about we have a backboard in our classroom. We go through this process piece of pitching, defense, and offense. And we have numbers that we start to chart. And then all of a sudden, after 20 games, you start to see oh man, we're a power hitting team, or we're a legit situational hitting team, or we're lockdown defense, good pitching team. Then you start to get that identity, and then you start to own that identity, and then it sprinkle little things to it. So I'd say going on right now, really like our offense, like our ability to make adjustments, like our power. I think, Katie, Dak, Hal, Janai, Michaela, Amaya, we've got kids that can leave the yard, and then we got kids that can run. I like that right now. Now we go to play Oklahoma State. We're going to see if that plays. And you got for the next 15, 20 games, what does that look like? And then you start to add your sprinkles in there, because now you got to manage your 3-game series.
Do you get nervous? Are you nervous right now? Because you play on Thursday. You play in Mexico. Your season opener is on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm nervous that we all make sure we have our passports when we show up to the airport.
Sure.
No, for sure. You get
now though. I know you get butterflies when you're sitting there as the game's starting. But 3 or 4 days ahead, do you still get the antsy nerves?
No, I think we're fully prepared for this weekend. So there's nothing more that we as a coaching staff can do right now in how we've prepared our team. Now it's the feedback from the game of the other team that's going to help us grow. So I think this is where we as a coaching staff are excited because now we got to see where we can be better in 20 games. And that's where coaching starts to come in, right? Get feedback, feel really good, prepped our team. Then it's oh, did we prep them? Do we need mental game? Do we need physical game? Do we need rest? What do we need at this point to make ourselves better? So we need the feedback right now. So I'm really excited to see we're in a really good spot. What are we capable of? And then making adjustments from there.
And could you kind of walk us through what you feel the pitching staff will be, how much different it will be, and I guess your overall confidence that it's because I know it's got to be healthier. I hope.
Yeah,
it's healthier than it was last year.
Yeah. We have 6 pitchers and all are different look. So that is the one thing that's going to be pretty awesome right now is we've got hard throwing lefty with Julia. McKenna's obviously lefty with up stuff. Then you got Mimi, who last year was huge for us with that drop ball. Danley with the drop ball velo up. We got Annabelle with the curveball and the off speed, and then Jazzy throws to all quadrants. So like when you have those kind of arms that you can bring out of the pen to neutralize the offenses that you're going to face, where last year we didn't have different looks, and so that kind of really hurt us at times because we couldn't do some matchups. And so just really excited about that. Now we've got to grow together and figure out, do I open, do I come in middle of the game, do I close the game, where are the good matchups, and how comfortable am I doing that, and then how well does the defense play behind me on that. So we're prepped and ready to go. Now it's the implementation of our abilities.
And a couple of those pitchers are portal kids, right? They came through the portal. Can you, I guess, talk about them? And also, I wanted to know this, like, how much of it is when you're Florida State, you're Lonni, it's fun. People want to come all over the country, want to play for you. How many people are asking to come? What is like the, how do you discern who we want and who we don't want?
Yeah.
And is it all, I assume it's not all ability on the field. It's mostly what they do on the field, but you're looking for a certain kind of person to join your program too.
Yeah. Corey, I tell you, like, I've really tried to figure, there's no blue book. I can tell everyone out there on recruiting. And, we all know that from what, kind of what football's been going through. And I think all of us are trying to figure out this NIL world and, most coaches and most fans like the blue collar, hardworking player that earns it. We like the amateur side of it. But there's a super cool opportunity for kids to make money right now. And so as we live this world, we all have to stay committed to our true north, what keeps us going, right? Like I love the transformational side of these student athletes when they come into the game. I love it. And but I've also got to make sure I meet the moment, And so I think the more that we can be genuinely ourselves, we attract those kind of players that want to be in that environment. And the more that they want to be transformed through the game in a very transactional world, got to win games or I'm not here. I always talk about that, but really love the family atmosphere and the growth part of it. So I think we're very big on that side. So it's not big red carpet here and shiny things. It is be around us, love the game, want to grow the game, want to be a part of a really cool opportunity. That's us. And we attract Annabelle Widras and Julia Apsels like that. They want that. Julia played here. That was her number one thing. She played here when she was the Hofstra, and she was just like, man, my family loved being at the Plex. I love the fan base here. I just wanted to be here. And so her phone call right away was like, this is where I want to be. And to me, that's that's a good fit. Like, of course, she's very talented, but then she wants to be here for other reasons than just, the talent part of it. So I think finding that right match, can really be healthy for you. So you're right. It's not always skill sets, even though we have to have skill sets. There's a piece of the glue that's got to fit into the culture of the program.
And if somebody's coming from a place like Hofstra, although I guess, did she pitch against you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw her up close.
Yeah.
But if a player's coming from a program where you haven't played and you don't have a lot of, do you go just on stats? Like, oh, they had a 1.88 ERA. That's good. They had 58 strikeouts in 50 innings. Do you look for film? Is there film to go look at?
Yep. There's film. I think there's also, word of mouth. Our sport's pretty good at talking to each other. Most of the kids that transfer in, I've talked to before. So there's a lot of kids I recruited before. They chose somewhere else. Didn't work out. Awesome. Come on back. Like we have a prior relationship. In the recruiting part, you see them. So you pretty much know. It's not pretty much, oh, you look at numbers and you bring them in here. Especially for us. Maybe some transactional people are numbers. Let's go. For us, it's more of the personal fit.
How much do you think it helps somebody like Julia? It's Julia, right, that came from Hofstra?
Julia, yeah.
You have seniors on your team that this is all they know is Florida State softball and how awesome the crowds are, how awesome the fan base is, the fact that you have a fan base, you have a crowd. Yeah. I imagine at Hofstra, probably not getting a couple thousand watching their games every night and having people yell K-time. Yeah. Do you think that's good to have that infusion of somebody that's not used to the program, letting everybody else on the team know how special this is? Like this isn't normal. What you guys have gotten to live is not normal. This is why I want to be here.
Yeah, we do. I have them share that sometimes a little bit from the outside. And again, realizing the kids that are born and raised in this program are only going to know what they know, So you can hear everyone's stories and we share stories, but I just try to be very mindful of respecting the journey of others and respecting the ones that are in it, So, it's kind of like maybe children of my own and ones I've adopted. You're probably going to handle them differently as you go through your processes. And so to me, Julie and Annabelle right now, I always tell them, like, you are freshmen as seniors. Like, you are rookies in our program, and I'm not going to I'm going to make sure that I respect the fact that you're a senior, but I don't want to assume you know everything. So we're going to go back to the basics so you can get the most out of this place in a short amount of time. And so just really identifying those things, on that side. And I'd say Julia has been, she's a little shyer, where Annabelle's pretty comfortable. We played Annabelle, in postseason here. So she ended up having to go get an x-ray in her doctor's office. And she's like, oh, I know the place already. I've been around it, So it, everyone's journey is just a little bit different. So she's a little more comfortable, being around here. But yeah, it's been great.
And with this team, and we can wrap it up on this, but with this team, it sounds like, not surprisingly, you really like the offense. Even though you lost what you lost, you have so many dynamic players, from Kerr to Edenfield, obviously the two sophomores. You have a quartet there, and they're not the only ones in the lineup.
Yeah.
But a quartet there that is about as good as anybody in the country.
Yeah.
If you can pitch like you want to pitch and pick up the ball and play defense like you want to pick up, I assume you think this season can be special. Like, that's always the goal, but you seem to. And I don't know you that well, Lonnie. We're not best friends, but you seem to have like a quiet confidence about what this team can be come May and June.
Yeah. Corey, we've had a little theme this year with the Team 42, but the peace sign. And we've really embraced the put your head in the pillow at the end of the day, give everything you can. And then, the sun rises and you're up and you're getting after another day. And this team has done that. They've just been there. I say one thing once and it is done. There's just so good cohesion, drive. They're into every weight room. They're into every conditioning. They're into every practice, into every team meeting. Like, it has been outstanding. Now, is that going to guarantee you wins? No, but I'm excited for their opportunity, and I want to be right there with them and ride the highs and lows, because they have given so much and they've been a lot of fun to be around. So talented, yes, but this is an all-in team, and it's been a lot of fun. So I know you'll enjoy it and you appreciate both sides of it. And I know the fans usually see the fun side of the team, but this is a super special squad.
It feels like you're starting off the season, though, with a bowl trip.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a football team. Like, your bowl game is at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
This is the last question, I promise, Lonnie. We always appreciate your time. But what is this experience? I assume you guys leave on Wednesday?
Yeah, so 3:30 a.m. So I was at a late Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, all right. Okay, 3:30 a.m. flight. Nice.
Yeah. We got a lot this year. We are doing the road travel thing because we're going out to Oregon and Cal, and it's going to be a little challenge for us on that side, but be good. But yeah, I think Clearwater was a little like that in the beginning. So we've always been at home and then head down to Clearwater, and they create this really cool atmosphere down there. But I think this is a little more like, we'll go through customs, very, very unique. Just passports in general, so by having a little diversity is good for us to bond. So I think these 2 weekends are going to be good for us to bond, to come together as a team, just traveling and as a team and playing. And then being able to open up at home, mid-February is going to be exciting.
And you're going to a resort destination. I don't want to sound like you're going to some fourth world country, but you are going to rough it a little bit as far as the actual playing facilities, right?
Yeah, there'll be a breakaway fence. I know there's dogs that roam around there and chickens. Most places you go, Mexico, I've been to South America quite a bit, played down there. And I'm excited for that for our kids. We'll do some clinics with some youth kids. And so, just different languages, all that kind of stuff that's going to be so unique and a fun experience for them. But you're right. We don't have normal cages to warm up into. There's only one field, and it's not the greatest of field. I wouldn't say Clearwater's the greatest of fields either, but when you go toe-to-toe competition, Oklahoma State's one of the best, and it's going to be great for us. And La Tech and Northern Colorado have had great years last year. It's going to be a really good tournament for us to find out what we're all about.
Well, Lonnie, look, I don't care if there are dogs or chickens or donkeys running around. Go get some wins.
Yeah, you got it.
No excuses.
No
excuses, Lonnie. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great trip, for real.
Thanks, Corey.